Dr. Ju Park's eyes widened as she studied the holographic display in the monitoring center. Something strange was happening at the edge of the solar system. The energy readings pulsed with an unnatural rhythm, exactly matching the patterns described in the ancient texts her team had been studying for years. This can't be a coincidence, she whispered to herself, checking the calculations again. The probability of natural phenomena creating such a pattern was virtually zero. Ju's fingers trembled slightly as she pressed the emergency alert button. Within minutes, Director Han Kim hurried into the room, his usual calm demeanor intact but concern evident in his eyes. "Director Kim, look at these readings," Ju said, pointing to the pulsing anomalies. "They match the warning signs from the ancestor archives, exactly as described in texts dating back 12,000 years. Han moved closer, the blue light from the display casting shadows across his weathered face. He had spent his entire career preparing for this moment, hoping it would never come. "So, it's happening. Just as they said it would," he said quietly, his voice betraying no emotion though his heart raced. "How long do we have?" "Based on their current trajectory and speed, 3 days, maybe 4 before the scout ships reach our outer detection grid." Han nodded. "Activate Protocol Sentinel. Authorization Kim 7-4 Alpha." Ju took a deep breath before entering the command into the system. For decades, the world had been told that the massive underground complexes were research facilities or disaster shelters. Only a select few knew their true purpose. Across the planet, ancient machinery stirred. In the frozen wastes of Antarctica, heating elements engaged in a facility buried 2 kilometers beneath the ice. Lights flickered on for the first time in millennia, illuminating rows of sleek, metallic objects that resembled no human technology publicly known. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean floor, pressure doors unsealed themselves, allowing seawater to flow through predetermined channels, powering turbines designed to run for centuries without maintenance. In the Sahara Desert, solar collectors hidden beneath the sand emerged, turning their faces to the sun after eons of darkness. At Earth Defense Headquarters in Seoul, Senior Technician Minho Choi stared in disbelief as ancient symbols scrolled across his screen. "Sir," he called to his supervisor, "the ancestor systems are activating. All of them. Simultaneously." Around him, other technicians reported similar phenomena. Systems built by unknown hands thousands of years ago were coming online, responding to a threat only recently rediscovered in ancient warnings. "The translation program is working," another technician announced. "We're getting readable data." Director Kim entered the command center with Dr. Park close behind. The large central display showed a global map with pulsing lights indicating active ancestor systems. "Status report," Kim ordered. "All systems functioning at optimal capacity, sir," Minho reported. "Defense grids in North America, Asia, Europe, and Africa are online. South American and Australian systems coming online now." Ju checked her tablet. Energy readings are stable. Whatever power source they designed, it's still working after all this time. "What about the weapon systems?" Kim asked. "Still dormant," Minho replied. "According to the protocols, they won't activate until the main invasion force arrives." Kim nodded. "Inform the Security Council. Priority 1. Use the code phrase." As messages went out to world leaders, Ju pulled Kim aside. "Have you considered that we might be wrong? That these could be peaceful visitors?" Kim's expression hardened. "Our ancestors faced these beings once before. They nearly wiped us out. Everything we know about them comes from the survivors of that first contact. People who sacrificed everything to prepare us for their return." "But that was 12,000 years ago," Ju argued. "Species evolve, civilizations change. Which is why we'll attempt communication first," Kim assured her. "But we'll do so from a position of strength." 3 days later, the first alien scout ships entered the solar system. Just as the ancient texts had predicted, they appeared near Neptune's orbit, their hull configurations matching the drawings preserved in underground vaults around the world. Earth's most advanced communication systems broadcast greetings in every known human language, plus mathematical formulas designed to show peaceful intentions. The alien vessels made no response. They continued their advance toward Earth, ignoring all attempts at contact. In the lunar observation post, astronomers watched as the scout ships deployed smaller craft, which began systematic scans of the outer planets. They're searching for something, Zhu observed during an emergency Security Council meeting. Something specific. Or confirming what they already know, General Taeyong Kang suggested. Making sure we're still here before the main force arrives. President Subin Lee looked around the table at Earth's defense leadership. The ancestor protocols are clear on what happens next. Are we in agreement? One by one, the representatives nodded. Then may whatever gods exist help us, the president said solemnly. Activate the orbital defense grid. Across Earth's orbit, satellites that had been publicly designated for communications or weather monitoring revealed their true purpose. Weapons designed thousands of years ago, upgraded with modern technology, powered up silently. Deep beneath Mount Fuji, the oldest known ancestor complex hummed with energy. In its central chamber, a crystalline structure illuminated, projecting a three-dimensional map of the solar system. Small red dots appeared, representing the alien scout ships. Zhu stood before the map, her mind racing with questions. How had their ancestors known so precisely? How had they managed to build systems that would last for millennia, waiting for this exact moment? And more importantly, would their preparations be enough? As if in answer to her unspoken question, the central crystal pulsed once, and a new section of the facility opened, revealing technology far beyond anything humans had yet developed. The ancient plan was unfolding exactly as designed. Humanity would not face extinction unprepared. Not this time. Captain Do-Hyun Lee stood rigid on the bridge of the EDS Defender, Earth's most advanced battleship. His crew worked silently around him, each person aware of the historical significance of this moment. Humans had prepared for this day across thousands of years. Contact in 3, 2, 1, called out the sensor officer. Space itself seemed to ripple and tear as the first alien ships emerged. Unlike the mechanical vessels humans had built, these ships looked alive. Massive creatures swimming through the void, their surfaces pulsing with bioluminescent patterns. Their hulls resembled the shells of deep-sea creatures, with strange appendages that moved with purpose. Tactical analysis, Do-Hyun ordered, his voice steady despite the cold fear gripping his chest. Lieutenant Jun Song's fingers flew across her console. Biological composition confirmed, Captain. Energy readings match ancestral records exactly. She paused, her face paling. Sir, I'm detecting more arriving. Many more. The view screen showed dozens of spatial rifts opening, each disgorging more of the alien vessels. Small scout ships darted between the larger cruisers, moving in patterns that suggested a hive-like coordination. How many? Do-Hyun asked, mentally preparing himself for the answer. June looked up, her eyes wide. Over 3,000 vessels, sir, matching the specifications in the ancestral archives, down to the last detail. Do-Hyun nodded. The ancestors had not exaggerated the threat. If anything, their warnings had been understated. All ships maintain defensive formation, he ordered. No aggressive actions. Remember your training. On the main view screen, the alien armada continued to grow, spreading across the space between Mars and Earth like a living cloud. Sir, Communications Officer Hyuk Kim interrupted. Message from Earth Command. Director Kim requests immediate conference. Do-Hyun stepped into the secure communication room, where Director Han Kim's holographic image waited alongside Dr. Joo Park. Captain, what's your assessment? The director asked without preamble. They're exactly as described in the archives, sir. Numbers, configuration, even their movement patterns. Our ancestors knew exactly what we would face. Director Kim nodded grimly. We're activating the planetary shield. The alien vanguard will reach Earth orbit in approximately 6 hours. On screens across the command center in Seoul, Dr. Ju Park studied historical records recovered from ancient sites. The images showed devastation beyond imagination. Cities reduced to ash, land masses altered by weapon impacts, and the desperate survivors who had sworn to prepare future generations. One image particularly haunted her, a stone tablet showing human figures bowing before towering alien forms. The inscription below had taken years to properly translate. "We cannot defeat them today, but we will prepare you to defeat them tomorrow." "They sacrificed everything," Ju murmured, touching the screen gently. 12,000 years of preparation, all for this moment. Director Kim approached, his face drawn with concern. "The Security Council has authorized full defensive measures. We're moving to Alert Level Omega." Around the planet, military units moved into positions established by training exercises conducted for decades. What the public had been told were routine drills had actually been rehearsals for this exact scenario. In the Himalayan installation, engineer Sun Mi Park verified final systems checks as massive energy reactors powered up. Similar scenes played out at facilities hidden beneath the Rocky Mountains and the Andes. "All shield generators at full capacity," she reported. "Ready for activation on your command." Back in Seoul, Director Kim gave the order. "Initiate planetary defense shield." Around the world, hidden installations activated simultaneously. Energy beams shot skyward from dozens of locations, converging in the upper atmosphere. A shimmering, translucent barrier began to form around the planet, visible from space as a faint blue glow. On the Defender, Do-Hyun watched as the shield enveloped Earth. "Shield integrity?" he asked. 100%, Captain," Jun reported. "All systems functioning as designed." The alien armada slowed its approach as the shield manifested. Their formation shifted, smaller vessels moving to the front in what appeared to be a reconnaissance pattern. "They're probing for weaknesses," Do-Hyun observed, just as the archives predicted. In the Strategic Command Center, alarms suddenly blared. Energy spike detected from the lead alien vessels. A technician called out. "They're charging weapons." The first attack came as a pulsing beam of greenish light from one of the larger alien ships. It struck the planetary shield, spreading across its surface like liquid fire. The shield held, absorbing and dissipating the energy. "Shield integrity at 96%, reported the Defense Systems Officer. "Minor fluctuations in the impact sector, but holding stable." Director Kim turned to Ju. "The ancestral designs are working, but this is just their first test." As if confirming his words, more alien vessels moved forward, weapons charging. The next volley was stronger, multiple beams striking different points on the shield simultaneously. "Shield integrity at 89%, came the report. "Regeneration systems active, but they're finding the weak points in the grid." Ju studied the attack pattern. "They're more advanced than they were before. They've evolved their tactics." "So have we," Director Kim replied. "Thanks to our ancestors." On the main display, smaller alien ships began systematic movements around the shield's perimeter, apparently searching for a way through. Ju suddenly grabbed Kim's arm. "The vault, Director Kim," she said urgently. "We need to access the final protocols." Kim hesitated. The ancestral directive was clear. The vault contains knowledge too dangerous to access until absolutely necessary. "Look at their attack pattern," Ju insisted, pointing to the display. "They're not just testing our defenses. They're gathering data. The archives mentioned this strategy. They'll adapt faster than we can respond unless we use everything the ancestors left us." After a moment's consideration, Kim nodded. "You're right. Prepare a team. We leave for Mount Baekdu in 30 minutes." As they hurried to prepare, the alien armada launched its first major assault. Hundreds of energy beams struck the planetary shield simultaneously, creating a web of crackling energy across its surface. "Shield integrity at 70%, the systems officer reported, tension evident in his voice. "Regeneration systems at maximum." In orbit, Captain Do-hyun watched as the alien vessels began to encircle the planet. Their biological ships pulsed with increasing intensity, communicating in some unknown fashion. "They remember us," he realized aloud. "After all this time, they remember Earth." His tactical officer looked up. "Sir." "They knew exactly where to find us and how to attack our defenses," Do-hyun explained. "This isn't a random invasion. It's a return." As Director Kim and Dr. Park boarded the hypersonic transport bound for the most secure ancestral vault on the planet, both understood that humanity's long preparation was about to face its ultimate test. The security doors to the ancestral vault slid open with a soft hiss, revealing a chamber untouched by human hands for thousands of years. Dr. Joo Park felt goosebumps rise on her arms as she stepped inside, followed closely by Director Han Kim. The air smelled strangely fresh for a sealed room that had existed since before the pyramids were built. "Incredible," Joo whispered, her eyes adjusting to the soft blue light emanating from crystalline structures embedded in the walls. The vault, buried deep beneath Mount Hala, extended far beyond what modern scanners had detected. The room they entered was merely an antechamber to a massive complex carved into the mountain's heart. The text said this was the primary installation. Director Kim said, his voice hushed with reverence, "But I never imagined it would be this extensive." As they moved deeper into the complex, sensors detected their presence. Lights activated automatically, illuminating a path forward. The walls were covered with intricate symbols, the same language found in ancestral sites around the world. They reached a circular chamber at the center of the complex. A crystalline pedestal stood in the middle, pulsing with soft light. "This must be the control center," Joo said, approaching the pedestal cautiously. When her hand touched the crystal surface, the entire room transformed. Holographic displays sprang to life, filling the air with three-dimensional images of the solar system, the alien fleet, and Earth's defensive systems. "Welcome, descendants," came a voice from everywhere and nowhere at once. "I am Atlas, the ancestral temporal logistical analytical system." Director Kim stepped forward. "You're an artificial intelligence. I am a quantum consciousness created by your ancestors 12,000 years ago." Atlas replied, its voice eerily human despite its artificial origin. "I was designed to store all knowledge of the invaders and coordinate Earth's defense when they returned." Joo stared in amazement. "How is this possible? Quantum computing wasn't developed until the 21st century. Your ancestors possessed technologies far beyond what you currently understand," Atlas explained. "Much was lost in the devastation of the first invasion. What remained was carefully preserved and strategically implemented throughout human history." A new holographic display appeared, showing the entire solar system. Thousands of points of light blinked into existence throughout the planet's orbits. The ancestors seeded defensive technology throughout the solar system. Atlas continued, "Every space mission for the past century has unknowingly deployed components of our defensive network. Satellites believed to be for communication or scientific research carry hidden weapon systems. Mining operations on the Moon and Mars have uncovered pre-positioned defense platforms. That's why the space programs were guided toward certain locations," Director Kim realized. "The ancestral archives influenced our development." "Precisely," Atlas confirmed. "Human progress has been subtly directed to prepare for this moment." Meanwhile, in orbit around Jupiter, Captain Do-hyun Lee received new orders. The Sentinel Fleet, Earth's most advanced warships, regrouped for a mission deemed critical to humanity's survival. "All vessels, prepare for dimensional jump," Do-hyun commanded. "Destination: Saturn's rings." His second-in-command, Commander Mina Kang, approached with concern. "Saturn, sir. The alien fleet is heading for Earth." "New intelligence from Mount Hala," Do-hyun explained. "There are ancient weapon platforms hidden in Saturn's rings. We need to activate them before the main alien force arrives." The Sentinel fleet engaged their experimental jump drives, technology reverse-engineered from ancestral designs. In moments, they appeared near Saturn's magnificent rings. Scan for anomalous objects, Doyon ordered. According to Atlas, they're disguised as ordinary ice fragments. The ship's sensors swept through the rings, identifying dozens of objects that didn't match the composition of the surrounding ice and rock. These fragments appeared ordinary to casual observation, but contained dense metallic cores with dormant energy signatures. Contact found, reported the sensor officer. Hundreds of them, distributed throughout the rings. Doyon nodded. Begin activation sequence. Authorization code Ancestral Sword. From each ship, specialized drones deployed, approaching the disguised platforms. As they made contact, the ice fragments began to transform, shedding their camouflage. Mechanical components emerged, solar arrays unfolded, and weapon systems activated. Back at Mount Hala, Juhu was making another startling discovery as Atlas revealed more of the ancestral plan. Our examination of modern humans shows genetic differences from pre-invasion populations, Atlas explained, displaying a complex genetic sequence. Your ancestors implemented systematic biological modifications over thousands of years. Juhu studied the displayed DNA strand with growing astonishment. These changes, they're not natural evolutionary adaptations. Correct, Atlas confirmed. Human DNA contains subtle modifications introduced thousands of years ago, engineered to resist the alien bioweapons. Your ancestors understood that technology alone would not be sufficient. Our ancestors literally changed who we are to protect us, she whispered, the implications staggering her. The holographic display shifted to show the alien vessels. The invaders use biological weapons that target specific genetic sequences. During the first invasion, these weapons devastated human populations. The survivors implemented a multi-generational genetic modification program to ensure future humans would be resistant. How? Director Kim asked. The technology needed for genetic engineering is recent. They used selective breeding programs disguised as cultural traditions, combined with natural compounds that influenced genetic expression. Atlas explained. The modifications were subtle enough to appear as natural evolution, but deliberate in their design. On Earth, as the alien Armada approached, another aspect of the ancient plan activated. Beneath every major city, manufacturing facilities hidden below ordinary industrial complexes began powering up. These facilities, built during various periods of human history and continually maintained through secret programs, were designed for one purpose: producing weapons to fight the returning invaders. In Seoul, Chief Engineer Jun Oh-yoon watched in amazement as machinery thought to be standard military equipment reconfigured itself, revealing capabilities no one had suspected. The production systems are online, he reported to command. They're manufacturing weapons I've never seen before. What kind of weapons? Asked the defense minister. According to the specifications, they're designed to exploit weaknesses in alien biology, weaknesses identified during the first invasion. They target specific biological systems unique to the invaders. Similar reports came in from around the world. In facilities beneath Beijing, New York, Moscow, London, and dozens of other cities, production lines activated automatically, creating specialized weapons for the coming battle. At Mount Hala, Atlas continued revealing the full scope of the ancestral plan to Juwoo and Director Kim. Humanity has been preparing for this moment since before recorded history, Atlas concluded. Your civilization's development has been guided to ensure you would be ready when the invaders returned. And are we? Director Kim asked. Are we ready? The AI's response was simple, but carried the weight of 12,000 years of preparation. We are about to find out. Captain Do-Hyun Lee stood on the bridge of the EDS Defender as the alien fleet approached Jupiter. The massive gas giant loomed before them, its swirling storms a canvas of reds, oranges, and creams. The Sentinel fleet had positioned itself between Jupiter and the advancing alien Armada. They've detected us, Commander Mina Kang reported. 37 alien vessels breaking formation to intercept. Do-Yun nodded calmly. Let them come. Hold position until they're within range of Jupiter. The alien ships accelerated toward them, their biological hulls pulsing with energy. They moved with an unsettling grace, like predators confident in their superiority. Incoming weapons fire, shouted the tactical officer. Evasive maneuvers, Do-Yun ordered. Draw them closer to Jupiter. All ships maintain formation integrity. The Sentinel fleet scattered in a practiced pattern, absorbing some hits while avoiding others. The alien weapons left glowing trails across space, some striking Earth vessels with devastating effect. 2 human ships erupted in silent explosions, their crews lost in an instant. Do-Yun watched the tactical display, waiting for the perfect moment. The alien ships pursued, moving deeper into Jupiter's gravitational influence. Sir, we've lost the Dauntless and the Horizon, Minna reported grimly. Their sacrifices will not be in vain, Do-Yun said, his eyes fixed on the display. Status of the Jupiter array. Ready for activation, sir. Do-Yun took a deep breath. This would be the first test of the Ancestors' most powerful weapon. Activate the Jupiter array, he commanded. Full power. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then, the massive storm systems on Jupiter's surface began to change. The famous Great Red Spot, which had swirled in Jupiter's atmosphere for centuries, suddenly intensified. Other storms across the planet's surface also brightened and began moving with unnatural coordination. What astronomers had believed were natural weather patterns were actually components of an electromagnetic weapon system of unprecedented power, built or seeded by the ancestors millennia ago. Energy built rapidly within Jupiter's atmosphere. Arcs of lightning hundreds of miles long connected the storm systems. Then, without warning, a massive pulse of energy erupted from the planet's surface, spreading outward like a wave. The energy wave washed over the alien vessels, their biological hulls convulsed as if in pain. Several smaller ships came apart entirely, their structures unable to withstand the electromagnetic assault. The larger vessels staggered in space, their systems temporarily disabled. It worked, Minna whispered in awe. Prepare for attack run, Do-Yun ordered. All ships target disabled vessels. Use ancestral weapons only. The Sentinel fleet surged forward, firing specialized weapons designed specifically to damage the alien biology. Unlike conventional weapons, these fired pulses that disrupted the biological processes of the alien ships. On Earth, Dr. Jiwoo Park watched the battle unfold through Atlas's advanced monitoring systems. The holographic display in the Mount Hala complex showed skirmishes breaking out across the solar system as humanity launched its counterattack. The Jupiter weapon was even more effective than we hoped, Director Kim remarked, watching the alien fleet regroup in disarray. It's not just the weapon, Jiwoo said, her eyes wide with realization as she studied the data flowing through Atlas's systems. I finally understand the full scope of the ancestral plan. Every exploration mission, every colony, every technological development. It was all preparation for this conflict. She brought up historical data showing the development of Earth's space program. Look at the mission profiles for the Jupiter probes over the last 50 years. Each one delivered components or performed maintenance on the array. The scientists who designed those missions were guided by ancestral information without even knowing it. The same pattern appears across all space development, she continued. The lunar bases were positioned to access hidden weapon caches. The Mars colonies were established above ancestral bunkers. Even the mining operations in the asteroid belt were targeting specific resources needed for the defense systems. As she spoke, military forces around the world were mobilizing with surprising efficiency. The United Earth Defense Force, a command structure embedded within international military treaties for centuries, took control of global operations. What appeared to be a new organization was in fact the activation of a dormant command system designed long ago. In Washington, Beijing, Moscow, and other capitals, civilian leaders stepped aside as defense officials activated emergency protocols that had existed in secret for generations. There was no confusion, no power struggle, just the smooth implementation of a plan created thousands of years in advance. Admiral Sumgoba, Supreme Commander of Earth's forces, addressed the planet's population from a secure bunker. Citizens of Earth, we are now in a state of war with an alien force that has returned after 12,000 years. This is not unexpected. Our ancestors faced these same invaders, and though they could not defeat them then, they prepared us for this day. Meanwhile, the aliens pressed their attack on Earth's orbital defenses. They had expected to find a primitive world, easily harvested. Instead, they found an entire species that had been preparing for their return across countless generations. Their initial confidence gave way to confusion as human defenses proved far more sophisticated than should have been possible. Weapon systems hidden on the moon activated, firing precise beams that severed the connections between the alien vessels. Defense platforms concealed within Earth's orbit revealed themselves, deploying countermeasures that disrupted alien communications. Aboard the Defender, Captain Doyan received new orders directly from Atlas. "Captain, we have identified the alien mothership," the AI announced. "Our analysis indicates it contains the central biological node that coordinates their fleet. If disabled, their attack will falter." Doyan studied the tactical display showing the massive mothership at the heart of the alien formation. "How do we reach it? It's surrounded by their fleet. We have developed specialized equipment designed to interface with their biological technology," Atlas explained. "A small team could infiltrate the ship and disrupt its central nervous system." Doyan understood immediately what was being asked. "I'll lead the strike team myself." Within hours, a stealth vessel approached the alien mothership, using technology derived from ancestral designs to mask its presence. Doyan led a team of 12 specialists, each carrying equipment that looked more organic than mechanical. "Remember your training," he told them as they prepared to board. "These interfaces will allow us to communicate with their ship's biological systems. Once inside, we locate the central node and upload the disruptor virus." The boarding was more successful than they dared hope. The alien vessel's outer membrane allowed them entry, seemingly unable to distinguish their specialized craft from its own smaller components. Inside, they found an environment unlike anything in human experience. The ship's interior was a maze of pulsing organic corridors that shifted and moved as if breathing. The team moved carefully, following Atlas's guidance through their neural links. Back on Earth, Jumu monitored their progress through Atlas's systems. "They've reached the central chamber," she reported to Director Kim. "Doyan is uploading the virus now." She checked the status of other defense systems around the solar system. Everything was in place. "Begin the final sequence," Jumu ordered, her voice steady despite the enormity of the moment. Across the solar system, camouflaged defense systems activated simultaneously. What appeared to be an asteroid in Mars' orbit revealed itself as an energy cannon. Pluto's smallest moon detached from its orbit, revealing itself as an ancestral battle station. Even Earth's aurora borealis intensified, forming a secondary defense shield powered by the planet's magnetic field. The coordinated counterattack had begun, humanity's response to a threat 12,000 years in the making. The final battle against the alien invaders reached its climax as Doyan's team launched their most critical attack. The biodisruptors, carefully crafted from ancient genetic samples, struck at the core of the alien mothership with pinpoint precision. Years of preparation had led to this moment, a weapon designed to exploit the unique biological weaknesses of the extraterrestrial threat. Jumu watched the screens intently, her eyes reflecting the complex strategy that had been generations in the making. The United Earth Council listened in awe as she explained how their ancestors had planted the seeds of this victory long ago. Humanity was not just fighting a war. They were completing a plan set in motion decades earlier. The alien command structure began to crumble. Their massive ships, once symbols of unstoppable technological superiority, now drifted aimlessly. Communication networks collapsed like fragile glass, leaving the invaders confused and vulnerable. It was a total defeat that no one had thought possible. As the last alien vessels retreated, Do Yun's team discovered something even more surprising. These invaders were just a small part of a much larger galactic civilization. The implications were both terrifying and exciting. Humanity had not just won a battle, they had proven themselves capable of defeating a technologically advanced alien race. Jiwoo pored over the captured alien data, her mind already racing with possibilities. "They'll come back," she told her team quietly. "But next time, we'll be ready." The recovered alien technology represented more than just a trophy of war. It was a gateway to humanity's future among the stars. The United Earth Council began immediate preparations to study and adapt the alien technology. Scientists worked around the clock, breaking down complex systems and understanding principles that had seemed like magic just weeks before. Humanity was taking its first real steps towards becoming a spacefaring civilization. Few noticed the strange quantum signature detected by Atlas, the advanced monitoring system. A brief message flickered across the screens, a cryptic confirmation from somewhere or someone else. The plan worked. The future is now yours to shape. As the dust settled, Do Yun looked out over the recovered alien ship. Their victory was more than a military triumph. It was a testament to human resilience, preparation, and the incredible foresight of previous generations. They had transformed from a species on the brink of extinction to potential masters of their own cosmic destiny. The world celebrated, but Jiwoo and Do Yun knew this was just the beginning. Humanity would need to be stronger, smarter, and more united than ever before. The universe was vast, and they had just proven they were ready to explore it. In research facilities and command centers around the world, a new era of human potential was dawning. The alien invasion had been more than a war. It was a crucible that had forged humanity into something greater than they had ever imagined. The stars were no longer just points of light in the sky. They were a challenge, an invitation, and a promise of what humanity could become.